This particular headband is one of my favorites so far, and I know that a lot of you guys also love it. But the request I've been getting is how to make it using satin, because a couple of you guys don't have access to getting Asooke fabric. So in today's video, I'll be showing you all how to make that same type of headband, but this time with satin. This headband is so freaking beautiful, as you guys can see, and it's also quite easy to make. This method is a way of mimicking Asooke fabric. So for people who don't have access to Asooke fabric, following the steps and tips that I'll be sharing in this video will help you guys recreate your own homemade type of Asooke fabric. So if you're interested in watching everything I have to share with you guys, please be sure to keep watching. Okay, like this video, share with someone that you think would love it, and also subscribe if you're yet to subscribe. Alright guys, let's get straight into today's video. Let's go. Okay friends, so these are the items that we'll be needing. We'll be needing a fabric. I'm using that satin fabric. You also need your plastic headband. Okay, feel free to use any size, either the big one or the small one. You also need an item called hemming glue. You need your horsehair. You'll also need an Airstay, okay, or gum stay, a type of interfacing basically, but I chose to use Airstay. You also need your scissors, of course, for cutting. You need your tape rule for taking measurements, as well as a matching color of thread, because we are going to do a bit of hand sewing and sewing machine type of sewing as well. So first of all, I'm going to start off by wrapping my headband. I already have a detailed tutorial on how to wrap your headband perfectly. I'm going to link that video somewhere on the screen, so feel free to go check that video out if you are someone that is still struggling with wrapping headbands in a very neat way. Trust me, after watching that video, you would be a professional headband wrapper. Alright guys, so I'm going to move really quickly through wrapping my headband, and then we'll move on to the next stage in this tutorial. Okay friends, so this is what the finished result looks like after I went ahead to wrap my headband. Alright guys, so the next stage we are going to move to now is the kind of complicated part. Okay, so please make sure that you're taking paying close attention to everything I'm doing. I'm going to first of all start off by cutting two strips of fabric that are about 7 inches by 60 inches. Okay, the 60 inches is the full length of the fabric, while the 6 inches is the width of the, or I said 60 inches, 6.5 or 7 inches is the dimension, the width of the fabric. So I'm going to press on my Airstay onto these two strips of fabric. But first of all, I'm going to cut a matching length of Airstay for the two pieces of fabric, okay, because we are putting Airstay on the two pieces of fabric. I'm saying Airstay because the interfacing of choice that I'm using is Airstay. If you're using gum stay as well, you're cutting a matching dimension of gum stay, whatever interfacing you choose, okay, feel free to use it, but you're cutting a matching dimension for your Airstay or your interfacing now and your fabric. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. And just in case you're wondering why I'm cutting on the floor, because with long strips of fabric or extremely long strips of fabric, it's always more convenient for me personally to cut on the floor, because I don't have a really big table, okay, a perfect cutting table. So my floor serves as my cutting surface basically. So just in case someone wants to ask why I'm cutting on the floor, that's the only reason why I'm cutting on the floor. So I'm going to cut two strips of these fabrics that I'm cutting, something that is going to cover the entire fabric basically after cutting. And this is what my Airstay looks like up close, especially for people that have never seen it before. It has the part with the glue and the plain side, so you are pressing on the part that has glue on it basically onto your fabric, so it sticks onto your fabric, and you use iron typically to iron it onto any type of fabric. So this is what my fabric looks like after I went ahead to press on my interfacing. So I'm back to my work table now, and it's time for us to get working. So what I'm going to do now is to sew on my horsehair or crinoline, depending on what you choose to call it. I'm sewing that crinoline, and then I'm also going to place my hemming glue onto that crinoline and sew everything together onto my fabric. Okay, it might not make sense as I'm saying it, but please watch what I'm doing, because I tried my best to demonstrate or illustrate everything I'm saying. So let me keep quiet now, look at what I'm showing you, and then we'll continue together. Okay guys, just in case you don't understand my demonstration, all I'm saying is you're putting your two fabrics together, right sides facing each other. You place your crinoline at the edge, and then place your hemming glue on top of it and sew everything together. And you're doing it on the two open sides of your fabric. Okay, you're going to sew the two sides closed and then turn the fabric inside out once you're done. So this is everything after sewing. So right after this point here that I'm showing you, you can see the hemming glue on top of the crinoline right there. The hemming glue is kind of blending with the crinoline because it's kind of light. So once everything was done and I sewed all the way down on 1/2 of an inch, I'm now going to go ahead now to turn the fabric inside out. Okay, we are going to turn it inside out so that the right side now faces, you know, the exterior of the fabric. And this is what it looks like after sewing and turning inside out. So the next thing I'm going to do now is press the fabric, press it very well and make sure that the edges are flat to give us that flat structured finish. And typically what I do is I water the fabric a little bit and then sew. Watering is very important so that it allows the fabric press really well and flatten out. If you don't water the fabric, you will stress yourself. So yeah, that's just a tip right there for those that are following my tutorial to the T. So what I'm doing now is now gathering. Okay, this is the point where we get to and we now start to do things the way we did it with the other tutorial. Especially for those who have watched that tutorial, I think you would understand what I'm saying. If you've not seen that tutorial, I suggest that you go, after watching this video, go ahead to check out that video, so it makes, you know, moving on from this stage really easy for you. But yeah, what I'm doing now is gathering and folding my fabric over such that it gives us that curved effect finish that we have going on with this design of Asooke headband, or I keep saying Asooke, for this type of headband headwear. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here, folding, gathering, and all of that. For this portion, I won't be doing a lot of talking because there's really nothing to say that you can't see on the screen, right? So please pay attention to what I'm doing and then we'll continue talking after a while. Also, let me point out at this point, if you've been enjoying this tutorial, if you've learned something, no matter how little what you learned is, please hit the like button. Okay, that like button is very important to me and the growth of my channel. Okay, so that's your own way of supporting me, right? So please don't forget to hit the like button. Also, if you've made it up to this point in the video and you're yet to be subscribed to this channel, you know you've been gaining knowledge from this channel, so do well to join the family so you don't miss out on any of my insightful and educative tutorials. Okay, so yeah, what I'm showing here is just me folding the fabric the way I would typically fold to finish up the look. So this is me having 5 folds, but at the end of this particular video I ended up having just 4 folds, so they were 10 inches wide. Each fold was about 10 inches, so you saw me just measure right there, measure 10 inches, gather at that point where the 10-inch ends, and then fold over. Just basically watch what I'm doing and then I'll come back to talk to you guys once we are done with this portion of the tutorial.
Why you wanna run away? Why you gotta be afraid? I wish I could make you stay, cause baby I love you. Why you tryna break us up when I'm tryna build it up? I wish I could make you stop, cause baby I love you. Guess I'm gonna dance alone tonight. I'm gonna miss your body. You know I can never get it right without you, no. I don't wanna step into the light if I don't get you, shawty. You bring out the sweetness of my life, oh yeah. Come on and give me that, give me that, give me that good loving. Come on and show me that, show me that, show me that you're the one. I move to the left while you move to the right. Why you tryna fight it? Just come on and give me that, give me that, give me that good loving. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that good loving. First you wanna come around, then you say you're leaving town. Everything is upside down. Oh baby, I love you, yeah. Why you gonna leave when I need you the most? Wherever you go, I'll be there, you know. Don't be a stranger, don't be a ghost, cause baby, I love you, yeah. Guess I'm gonna dance alone tonight. I'm gonna miss your body. You know I can never get it right without you. got the sweetness of my life. Oh yeah. Come on and give me that, give me that, give me that good, good loving. Come on and show me that, show me that, show me that you're the one. I move to the left while you move to the right. While you tryna fight, just come on and give me that, give me that, give me that good, good loving. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that. Give me that, give me that, give me that, give me that good, good loving. Where you gonna leave when I need you the most? Wherever you go, I'll be there, you know. Don't be a stranger, don't be a
Alright friends, so it was at this point that I decided to cut off the excess piece of fabric. Okay, I wanted just 4 curves, and then I stopped at this point. So for the tip, I just tucked it in somewhere and then moved on. So at this stage, this is where the embellishment of this particular design comes in for me. I decided to embellish this particular one that I made, and the embellishments that I did was I added a strip of what they call this thing now is a type of applique, right? So this is what it looks like. Typically, I would say use any type of trimming or embellishment that you like, but for me, this is what I'm working with. Is this cup chain? They use it in sewing a lot for embellishments and all of that. I chose to use this particular one, and it was just for me to. It was a way of me to design this particular headwear, and it was also a way of also making the headwear look more beautiful and embellished and all of that. So at this point, feel free to do whatever rocks your boat. Use any type of embellishment. If you want stones, if you want trimmings, if you want anything, if you want to use lace, feel free to just go off and design it however you like. So once I was done applying that cup chain onto that point in my headwear, I went ahead to apply some glue onto the plastic headband, and then I went ahead to place that headgear piece on the headband to just give us one single piece. And remember, anytime you see me use glue, be sure that I'm still going to do little stitches to finish up my work. I never ever depend on just glue, because glue is not trustworthy. So after doing this, please do well to tack your design onto your headband such that it doesn't fall off and you don't have any wardrobe disaster, or your clients too doesn't have any complaints with what you've made for them. So once that was done, this is what the finished result of my headwear looks like. I went ahead to apply some cloth stones, did some little stitches to finish up my work, and that's it, guys. So the next stage in this particular video is for me to wear this headband on myself, so you guys get to see what the finished look looks like. And voila, guys, this is me rocking this particular green masterpiece. I hope you guys are happy with this particular tutorial, because I've gotten a whole lot of requests to show how to make that my design using satin, and I'm so happy that I was able to get along to it and make this particular video for you guys. Thank you guys so much for this feedback so far. Thank you for the love on most of my contents. Thank you guys so much. It means a lot to me. If you're still yet to subscribe to my channel, okay, this is a good time to smash that subscribe button down below and turn on your post notifications so you'll be the first to know every single time I have any video on here. In December, I'm bringing you masterpieces, okay? A lot of beautiful tutorials that you guys would love. So please be sure to join the family, like this video, share with someone that you think will love this type of content. And yeah, guys, I can't wait to see you all next week in another video. Thank you guys, and God bless. Bye.
I want to be